So I think it's super important to have the right combination of humility and gumption or, assertiveness in terms of getting something done. And, I was going to talk about just the humility and how important it is to be able to just say, hey, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. I have issues. All of those particular things are really, really important. But what I've also learned is that you need to think about how to be to stand your own, to not get pushed over. Because if you keep just being malleable is the word that I like. If you're just malleable to what other people say, then you really don't have anything that you're going to say, and people will push you around. Right? You have to think about the world as not necessarily just a bunch of well-intentioned people. There's a lot of not nice people. There's a lot of very strategic people. It's probably more strategic people. And they manipulate, they try to do all sorts of tricks, they do all sorts of bad things to get ahead. And so if you are just humble the whole time, right, and you admit that you have all of these mistakes and errors and all of these kind of things, you're never going to get anything done because people are going to manipulate and get around the thing that you're trying to do. So you have to be um, almost like a slippery snake, right? Like where you are adjusting to what the environment is saying, how a snake kind of goes over rocks, and you're adjusting to what the environment's saying, but then keep going in that direction that you want to go to, just like a snake goes in a certain direction and they keep kind of going in that particular direction. And it's hard to actually stop them. So you adjust and you sort of make sense, and you listen to what people are saying, and you're humble and you don't necessarily like absorb what everything, but you keep going, right? Like you adjust and you just keep going, and you realize that, man, that's the story, is to be more like a slippery snake where you adjust with what the environment is telling you to do and to say, but you keep going. You don't let that kind of eat up what's going on inside in terms of your spirit and your head. And it's hard, right? Like I'm very well aware of that. I often sort of dwell and think in my own head about a lot of different things. That's why I openly talk about this. Um, but I keep taking those steps forward, right? Like I know that this doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't feel good that, so for example, the whole reciprocity project, yes, it's getting some traction, but it's still not profitable. I still don't have people wanting to use it as to do like the back end of it, to sort of think about how to do research on it, to do A/B experiments. I still have a bunch of people discrediting me in many different ways, right? But that is not going to stop me from going ahead, right? And I think about like this sort of not working, and it's not going to stop me from going ahead and keep taking those steps forward and just ignoring the rest of the world, right? And taking those steps where I do this thing no matter what, right? And I think that's the key important thing, is that yes, you can absorb and listen to what people are saying, and sort of adjust and those kind of things, but you have your own voice and you keep going in that particular direction, and you keep sliding in that particular direction like a slippery snake, where where you're going, and you're not absorbing it. So like humility is really, really incredibly important, to admit like you're wrong, you've got all these mistakes. You're basically adapting to what the environment is saying, right? But then you also think about, how do I keep going? What do I do? If I just listen to all of the negativity and I just listen to what everybody is saying wrong, because that's all anybody points out. They'll point out everything that's going wrong. They will never tell you what's going right. And it's hard to listen to, behaviorally, and evolutionary, like the evolutionary response is we pay attention to more negative stuff, to bad stuff. And because of that, we absorb that bad stuff pretty readily rather than thinking about the good stuff that is going on. It's hard for us to see the good stuff that is going on, right? And that's where you have to just keep knowing that you're doing the right thing. You keep going, and you keep focusing on what you want to do, and you just get there, right? Like you make it happen. That's the whole game with the reciprocity project here, is you're seeing it happen, you're seeing it build, you're seeing me have all of these doubts, you're seeing me deal with, things. Um, so I'm building this platform, right? And it's always broken. There's always something on it that's broken. It doesn't work, and I wish I could get it better, and I wish I could throw more money at it, but I can't. Um, we have a certain amount. I already probably spend too much on this thing that is going nowhere. But I still go. I still get up and I still do it, and I still feel like a failure every day. Um, but I still get up and I do it, and I ignore the negativity, and I just keep going in that sort of slippery snake way, right? Like, um, part of the reason why I think that this is important is that there's no tools available for us to actually get anything done in this world, right? Like, we're using some rudimentary things. Our mind is kind of craptacular for getting things done, and I thought maybe I can build this thing out. But do you think anybody is going to be supportive with it and on anything like that? No, that's not how it works, right? Like, people are not going to come out in open arms and say, oh, this is a wonderful thing. What you need to do is just say, screw it, I'm going to keep going. And for every one person that says that this is a wonderful thing, 10 are going to tell you some negative, crappy thing. This is not right. You're not doing this right. Why the hell are you doing that? All those kind of things. But you get up and you do it anyways, right? And that's where you have that sort of assertiveness where you say, to hell with you. I'm not going to be humble all the time. I'm going to absorb, like counterpunch, right? You can imagine when you're boxing, I've used this analogy before. You absorb it and you move on and you keep going, right? And that's the end of it. And that's where I think you need to sort of think about, like, man, nothing's gonna stop me, and I'm going to have this fortitude. I'm going to have this strength inside of me to keep going, and you're going to watch me do it. And you're going to either sit there and criticize and make fun and eat popcorn while you're doing that, or you can help participate. And the vast majority of the people are going to be sitting there eating popcorn on the sidelines, but every once in a while you stumble across people that are really truly amazing, like you, that are listening to this, and that get it, that want to be part of something that is going to be different, and that's the things that you need to cherish, and that's where you're happy with the fact that you actually did all of this in the first place. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.